we commend the soul of our dear sister, Louisa May Alcott, to your care, O Heavenly Father, on this date, March 6th, 1888. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. May she rest in peace.
Amen.
There is a flood in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a flood in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. There is a blood in Gilead to make the wounded
You are my daughter.
Actually, it was my father who planted the idea of a book in my head.
Bronson Alcott.
The purest transcendentalist of us all.
Philosopher.
Radical reformer.
Educator.
I encourage each of my girls to develop their inner light, reform the family, thereby reform society. Lively fiction is a moral aid to parents.
But it was Thomas Miles, Boston literary agent for Roberts Brothers, who asked me to write
A girl's book.
In the early part of the 19th century, children's fiction had been generally pious.
Dull.
Curiously unspecific about the details of everyday life.
I did it for the money.
Miles thought it was dull.
And so did I.
Moral pact for the young.
Louisa had never known anyone who was less than a general in the armies of reform.
A catalyst to the new thinking of the American Renaissance.
Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Margaret Fuller.
Henry David Thoreau.
Elizabeth Peabody.
Were my heroes.
And Abigail May Alcott.
Descendant of Puritan aristocracy and distinguished colonial gentry.
My encouragement, my teacher, the light of my life.
You'll grow up a Shakespeare.
I longed to do something splendid, something that wouldn't be forgotten after I was dead, something that would earn me a place among such illustrious company.
March to a different drummer.
Something to distinguish life from mere living.
Rattled the bars of a woman's gilded cage.
She never wrote a real book.
It contains no theory of any kind.
I am looking for the genius of the home and household to complement the wild and untamed impersonal.
Simplify. Simplify.
A girl's book.
I don't know or like any girls except my own sister.
Can the earth, which is dead and a vision, resist spirits which have reality and are alive?
Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string.
Live deliberately.
I don't understand. What can be in a simple story like that to make people praise it so?
Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents. It's so dreadful to be poor.
I don't think it's very fair for some girls to have lots of pretty things and
at not having any presents this Christmas is,
Well, because it's going to be a hard winter for everyone. And she thinks we ought not to spend money for pleasure when our men are suffering in army.
Well, I don't think the army would be helped much by the $1 we've each got. I agree not to expect anything from you or Marmee, but I do want to buy Undine and Sintram for myself. I've wanted it for so long. I had planned to spend mine in new music.
I shall get a nice box of papers, drawing pencils. I really need them.
You don't really need them.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Amy.
Well, Marmee didn't say anything about our money. So let's each buy what we want and have a little fun. I'm sure we work hard enough to earn it.
Oh, I know I do. Teaching those tiresome children all day when I'm simply longing to enjoy myself here at home.
Oh, Meg, you don't have half such a time as I do.
Really?
How would you like to sit with a nervous, fussy Aunt March who hurries you until you're ready to fly out a window or cry?
Well, it's naughty to fret, but I do think washing dishes and keeping things tidy here at home is the worst work in the world. It makes me cross. My hands get so stiff, I can't practice well at all.
I don't believe any of you suffer as I do, for you don't have to go to school. With impertinent girls who plague you when you don't know your lessons, and laugh at your dresses, and label your father because he isn't rich, and insult you when your nose isn't nice.
You have a very nice nose.
If you mean libel, I'd say so, and not talk of labels as if Papa were a pickle watcher.
I know what I mean, and you needn't be satirical about it.
Oh.
It's proper to use good words and improve your vocabulary. I don't use such boyish slang words as you do. I detest rude, unladylike girls.
Well, I hate affected, feminine
Oh, remember!
Birds in their little nest agree.
These are quite worn out. Marmee must have a new pair.
I thought I'd get her some with my $1.
No, I shall.
I'm the oldest.
Well, I am the man of the family now that Father is away. For he told me to take a special care of Marmee while he was gone.
Why don't we each get Marmee something for Christmas and not get anything for ourselves?
Oh, that's like you, dear. What shall we get?
oh, I know. I shall get her a nice pair of gloves.
Yes, Meg. And army shoes, best we have.
Excellent idea, Joe.
And some handkerchiefs, all hemmed.
Good, Beth.
Amy?
What will you get, Marmee?
Oh, I'll get a little bottle of cologne. She likes it, and it won't cost much, so I'll still have money to buy my pencils.
How thoughtful of you, Amy.
I thought so too.
We ought to go shopping tomorrow afternoon, Meg. There's so much to do about the Christmas play at my show.
I don't mean to act any more after this. I'm getting too old for such things.
Well, you won't stop as long as you get to parade around in a white gown, with your hair down, and wear gold paper jewelry. Let's see. We ought to rehearse tonight.
Tonight!
Yes, tonight, Amy. Come and do the fainting scene. You're stiff as a poker in that.
I can't help it. I never saw anybody faint before.
Do it this way. Clasp your hands across your throat.
No.
Do it. Now stagger across the room, crying frantically, Roderigo! Save
expects to get through the cold season better than we feared. He sends all sorts of loving wishes for Christmas and a special message for you girls.
What does it say?
Give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. I know a year seems a very long time to wait before I see them, but remind them that while we wait, we may work, so that these hard days may not be wasted. I know they will be loving children to you, will do their duties faithfully, and will conquer themselves so beautifully that when I return, I will be prouder than ever of my little women.
I am a selfish girl. Oh, but I'll truly try to be better.
We all will. I think too much of my looks, and I hate to work, but won't anymore if I can help it.
And I'll try not to be so rough and wild, but do my duty here instead of wanting to be somewhere else. And be what he calls me, a little woman.
She'll be back soon then, I think, so fry your cakes and have everything ready.
Oh,
all right, dear. All right.
Merry Christmas, Meg.
Merry Christmas, Joe.
That was nice.
Yes, but where's Amy's bottle of cologne?
She went to put a ribbon on it or some such notion.
But
Amy!
where have you been? What are you hiding behind you?
What is it?
What do you have?
Laugh at me, Farrell. I didn't mean anyone should know till the time came. I only meant to change my little bottle for a big one, and I gave all my money to get it. And I'm truly trying not to be selfish anymore.
Amy, you're a trump.
I was ashamed of my gift after reading Pilgrim's Progress and talking about being good this morning. So I ran around the corner and changed it. And I'm so glad, for mine is the handsomest now.
Good.
Merry Christmas, little daughters.
Merry Christmas, Barbie.
Oh my goodness, what is this?
For you.
Presents for me. Oh, look at this. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, little daughters.
You like them?
I love them.
Breakfast is served.
What's the best one?
Oh, but I want to say one word before we sit down to breakfast. Not far from here lies a woman, Mrs. Hummel. She has a newborn baby, and 6 children are huddled into one bed to keep from freezing, for there's no fire. They have nothing to eat over there. My girls, will you give them your breakfast as a Christmas present?
Well, I'm so glad you asked us before we began.
May I carry the things to the poor children?
Of course, Beth.
I shall take the cream and muffins.
I thought you'd do it. You shall all go and help me, and when we return, we shall have bread and milk for breakfast, and make the rest up at dinner time.
The morning charities and ceremonies took much time, and the rest of the day was devoted to preparations for the evening theatricals. A few days of peace and quiet followed, and then an invitation arrived, which threw the younger 2 girls into the roles of dressing maids, and the older 2 into the all-important business of getting ready for the party.
Help me, Amy.
Simple as the toilettes were, there was a great deal of running up and down, laughing and talking.
Sit down, Meg.
No, point, a strong smell of burned hair pervaded the house.
It was so lovely Mrs. Gardner to invite us tonight with a regular invitation. Mrs. Gardner would be happy to see Miss March and Miss Josephine at a little dance on New Year's Eve. If only I had a silk, though. Mother says I may when I get tea, perhaps, but 2 years is such an everlasting time to wait.
Our pops are nice enough. Yours is as good as new. I forgot about the burn and the tear in the back of mine. It shows terribly. I can't take any out. I don't know what to do.
You must sit still all you can and keep that burn out of sight. That looks all right. Oh, Beth, I have a new ribbon for my hair, and Marmee lent me her pearl pin. And my new slippers are lovely. And my dear gloves will do, though they're not as nice as I would like.
What a queer smell. It's like burnt feathers.
Ought they to smoke like that? Oh, it's just the dampness drying. Now I'll remove the tongs, and you'll see a little cloud of ringlets. Oh! Megan! Joe, I'm sorry! What did you do? You shouldn't have asked me to do it! I'm sorry! The tongs were too hot, and so I made it for you! I'm sorry!
It isn't spoiled here. Bristle it and tie the ribbon so it covers in the back.
Thank you, dear.
It'll look like the latest fashion. I have seen so many girls do it so.
Really?
Really. There now.
There.
So pretty.
It looks all right now?
It's perfect.
Oh,
Have a good time, girls.
all ready, Joe? This old breast button. I'll do it.
Remember to keep that burn out of sight, Joe.
I will.
And don't use any slang like Christopher Columbus.
I won't.
Is my skirt ready?
Lovely.
And Joe? Does my hair look very bad?
No. It's perfect. Now, I know I shall forget, so if you see me doing anything wrong, just wink, will you?
No! Joe, winking isn't ladylike. I'll lift my eyebrows if I see anything wrong. Stand straight, please. And take small steps. And Joe, for heaven's sake, don't shake hands if introduced to anybody. It isn't the thing.
How do you remember the proper ways? I never can!
Some folks like to sigh, some folks do, some folks do, some folks want to die, but that's not me nor you. Long live the merry, merry hearts that last my night and day. We're the queen of birth, no matter what some folks say. Some folks fear to smile, some folks do, some folks do. Fathers laugh and guile, but that's not me nor you. Long live the merry, merry hearts that last my night and day. We're the queen of birth, no matter what some folks say.
Down they went, feeling a trifle timid, for they seldom went to parties.
And even this informal dance was an event for them.
But Mrs. Gardner greeted them kindly and handed them off to her eldest daughter.
Maggie knew Sally. It was that easy to want.
But Joe, who didn't care much for flirtatious Sally and girlish gossip, felt as out of place as a colt in a flower garden.
And stared at people rather forlornly until the dance began.
Meg was asked at once.
And Joe, seeing a large youth approaching her corner and fearing he meant to engage her, slipped into a curtained recess.
Intending to enjoy herself in peace.
Lots of other bashful person had chosen the same refuge.
For Joe found herself face to face with the Lawrence boy, who lived in the big house next door and whom she had seen many a time, but rarely spoken to.
I'm sorry, I didn't know anyone else was here.
I don't mind. Stay if you like.
Sorry. Shan't I disturb you?
Oh, not a bit. I only came here because I don't know many people and felt rather strange at first, you know.
So do I.
I'll leave.
No, please don't go. Unless you'd rather. I think I've had the pleasure of seeing you before. You live near us, don't you?
Next door.
Oh, that's
How
it.
do you do, Miss March?
Very well, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Only I'm not Miss March.
No?
I'm only Joe.
Well, I'm not Mr. Lawrence. I'm only Laurie.
Oh. Laurie Lawrence. What an odd name.
My first name is Theodore, but the fellows call me Dora, so I made them say Laurie instead.
I hate my name too. It's so sentimental. I wish everybody would just say Joe. Josephine. How do you make the boys stop calling you Dora?
Well, I thrashed them.
Oh. Well, I can't thrash Aunt March, so I suppose I'll just have to bear it.
I suppose so. Don't you like to dance, Miss Jones?
Well enough if there's plenty of room and everybody is lively. In a place like this, I'm sure to upset something or tread on people's toes or something dreadful. So I stay out of the way and let Meg say that. Don't you dance?
Sometimes. You see, I've been abroad a good many years, and I haven't been into company enough yet to know how you do things here.
What? Did you go to Paris?
Spent last winter there.
You must tell me about it sometime.
Of course. I can't drink both. Would you care for a drink?
I'd love to, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you came tonight. I feel as though I've known you and your sisters for a long time. Oh, yes, well, I often hear you call to one another. I often hear you call to one another, and when I'm home alone, I can't help but look over. You always seem to be having such good times. It's like looking into a picture to see you and your sisters all around the table with your mother. I can't help but look. My mother died when I was born. Oh, no.
Well, I wish you'd come over and see us instead of just peeping.
I would like to. Oh, I get lonely with nothing to do but study all day.
Are you going to college?
When I'm ready.
And then what? Beth says I never know when to shut up.
I suppose I'll go into business. Grandpa expects me to. And you?
Oh, I don't go to school.
No?
I'm a businessman.
That?
Woman. I look after my great Aunt March. Cross old thing she is, too. But she does have a marvelous library, and I like to slip in it every free moment I get and read as much as I can.
Well, a fellow can't survive on books alone.
I could. I'm going to be a writer someday.
Are you?
This is what I tell myself. Oh, what? Don't you ever build castles in the air?
I suppose so. I suppose I build a lot.
Really?
Really?
What's your favorite one?
Me? I don't know. To live in Europe and do as I please. You know, study music and become famous.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, hey, my ankle. What happened? Joe, I think I sprained my ankle. That stupid high heel turn and gave me such a sad wrench. I could barely stand on it, it ached so. I don't know how we're going to get home.
You hurt yourself with those stupid high heels, man.
I can't walk.
Could I offer my carriage? It's just come. Yes.
So early, you have to go yet.
Oh, I always go early. I do, truly. Please, let me bring you
friends with Laurie.
And paid frequent visits to the house next door.
Though at first they were shy.
For Laurie was rich and they poor.
Oh, they found he considered them benefactors.
For he lived only with his grandfather
And his tutor, a young gentleman named Mr. Rubber.
and had never known mother.
Or sisters.
So, the girls enjoyed themselves.
In the conservatory,
The library.
The grand piano.
Copying the marvelous paintings.
And having all sorts of good times with their new friends.
One evening,
Meg,
and
Joe.
were going off to the theater with
Laurie.
And Brooke.
When Amy begged to go along.
As she was not invited, Joe told her she may not go.
You'll be sorry for this, Joe March. See if you ain't.
When they returned, Jo could not find the little book of stories she had been writing for her father, and discovered
That Amy had thrown it into the fire.
Furious and hurt at the loss of the little book.
Joe had worked so long and hard over.
Jo went into a fury and shook Amy violently.
And Amy apologized.
But Joe ignored her and went off to go skating with
Brooke and Laurie.
Amy followed her in order to beg forgiveness.
No, the ice is too thin in the middle. Stay near the shore.
Amy did not hear this warning.
Whether she heard you or not, let her fend for herself.
How they did it, they never knew. But they pulled the child out, more frightened than hurt.
Shivering and cold, and got her all the way home.
Oh, Marmee. If she died, it would have been my fault. I'd be so wicked.
Amy opened her eyes, and everything was forgiven and forgotten in one hearty kiss.
Come summer, outings on the water were of a different nature, and early one evening, the girls found a note under their door.
Dear Joe, what's up? If it's fine tomorrow, I'm going to pitch my tent in Log Meadow and row us all out to lunch and croquet, have a fire, make messes, gypsy fashioned, and all sorts of larks. Brooke will go. I want you all to come. Can't let Beth off at any price, and nobody shall worry her. Don't bother about rations. I'll see to that, and, well, everything else. Only, do come. There's a good fellow. And a tearing hurry, yours ever, Laurie.
It was not far to Long Meadow, but the tent was pitched and the wickets down by the time they arrived in a pleasant green field, with 3 wide-spreading oaks and a smooth strip of turf for croquet.
The boys will jump, the ladies will alternate, and we'll all be gay when
Johnny comes marching home.
All we goes it for?
all presents.
Welcome to Camp Lawrence. Brooke is Commander-in-Chief. I am Commissary General, and you ladies are company. Now, let's have a game before it gets too hot, and then we'll see about dinner.
I want the yellow one.
Yellow one.
Sorry, Laurie.
I would like the red one. I guess I get green.
Yes, but what will you say, croquet? And what shall the others do?
All right. We'll play a game of rigmarole. What is rigmarole? One person begins a story, any nonsense you like, and tells as long as he pleases, making sure only to stop short at some very exciting point when the next person takes it up and does exactly the same. It's very funny when well done and makes a horrible jumble of comical stuff to laugh over. Who would like to begin?
I do. Pick me too. Am I able to start this game? Pick me up.
I'd be delighted. Once upon a time, there was a knight who traveled out in the world to seek his fortune.
Atticus!
After he traveled a long way, he came across the palace of a good old king.
Who authored everyone? Anyone who could train and tame a fine but unbroken colt. The knight agreed. Every day the knight rode him through the city, and as he rode,
in his wasted hair. The spectre beckoned him forward down a corridor that was as dark and as cold as a tomb.
This is very scary day.
But just for you, they came upon a certain doorway, behind which sounded lovely music.
That's nice.
Our knight sprang forward to enter, but the spectre plucked him back and waved frantically before him as
Thank me, said the knight, took a pinch, sneezed 7 times so violently that his head fell off. The evil spirit picked up her victim and laid him in a large tin box where there were 11 other knights who all rose up and began to
Dance a hornpipe.
Well done,
Gracious, what shall I say? Well, they went to the bottom of the sea, and the nice mermaid welcomed them and kindly pickled them in brine. By and by, a diver came down, and the mermaid said, "I'll give you this box of pearls if you can take it up." For she wanted to restore the hard things to life, and couldn't raise the heavy load herself. So the driver hoisted it up, and was much disappointed on opening it to find no pearl. Well, he left it in a great lonely field, where it was found by
A little goose girl.
yes.
Who kept on the pretty fat geese in a field. Well, she was sorry for them and asked an old woman what she should do. Your geese will tell you. They know everything.
They do.
Said the old woman. So she asked what she should use for new heads since the old ones were lost. And all the geese opened their 100 mouths and screamed.
Just the thing, said the little girl, and went to grab 12 fine ones from her garden. The knights revived at once, thanked her, and went on their way rejoicing, never knowing the difference.
Why didn't they notice?
Well, there were so many other heads like them in the world that nobody thought anything about it. Now, the knight in whom I'm interested went back to find the pretty face and learned that all the princesses had spun themselves free and gone off to be married. All but one. Looking over the hedge, he saw the queen of his affections picking flowers in the garden. "Will you give me a rose?" he said.
Give it to him, Joe.
"No, I will not give you a rose. You must come to me. It is improper," she said, as sweet as honey. So the knight tried to climb over the hedge, but it seemed to grow higher and higher. So he tried to push through, but it grew thicker, and he was in despair. "Let me in! Let me in!" But the princess did not seem to understand, for she picked her flowers quietly and left him to fight his way in.
So the poor knight has his head stuck in a hedge. That's
Well, Mr. Brooke, I suppose she gave him a posy and opened the gate after a while.
Yes, again.
He danced a hornpipe.
This ain't no hornpipe.
A little fast.
Easy jump.
Amy, don't show off.
You'll fall.
I'm all right.
Let's try it again.
Try this.
Miss Moe.
Oh, thank you. Yes? I found it very sweet. I'm much obliged to whoever translated it for me, for, well, I don't read German very well without my father. He taught me. I'm afraid I don't get on very fast alone, for I have no one to correct my pronunciation.
Well, try a little now.
Now?
I'll read a little bit to encourage you. O Mädchen, Mädchen, wer liebest dich? Wer blinkt down Auge, wer liebest du mich? Try this passage.
Oh. Oh, maiden, maiden, how I love you. How your eye sparkles.
Yes.
How you love me.
Very well indeed.
Well, you are a very encouraging teacher, Mr. Brooke. I only wish I liked teaching as you seem to do.
I think you would if you had Laurie for a pupil. I will be sorry to lose him next year.
I found my hat!
Going to college, I suppose. And what becomes of you?
Yes, it is high time you went. For he is ready. And as soon as he is off, I will turn soldier. I am needed.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I should think every young man would want to go, though it is hard on the mothers and sisters who stay at home.
I have neither, and very few friends to care whether I live or die.
Mr. Lawrence and Laurie would care a great deal, I'm sure. We should all be very sorry to see anything harm come to you.
Thank you. That sounds pleasant.
An impromptu circus, fox and geese, and an amiable game of croquet finished the afternoon. At sunset, hampers packed, wickets pulled up, the whole party returned home, singing at the tops of their voices. Now then, Joe's ambition was to do something splendid.
What it was, she had no idea.
But those around her knew it would have something to do with her writing.
She was never without pencil or paper.
Scribbling away at every opportunity.
And finally, she decided to contribute one of her tales to a local newspaper.
And for a week or two later, behaved quite queerly.
Rushing to the door whenever the postman rang.
Until that week's issue of the Eagle arrived,
Containing a story her sisters found most captivating.
And with Viola's last dying breaths, ends the story of the rival painters.
I like that about the splendid pictures.
Well, I prefer the lumbering part. Viola and Angelo are two of our favorite names. Isn't that queer?
I thought so.
Who wrote it?
Your sister?
It's very good.
Thank
I knew
you.
it. I knew it. Oh my Joe, I'm so proud. Mommy, Joe has written a wonderful story. They printed it in the Ego. The Rival Painters by Miss Josephine March.
Joe, I'm so proud!
Wait, you are already
Stop jabbering. I took it down to the local newspaper office, and the man there said, come back in a week. And when I went to get my answer, the man said he liked both of the stories I gave him, but didn't pay beginners. Only let them print in his paper and get noticed. But today this was sent to me, only Lottie saw me with it and insisted upon seeing it, and he said it was good. And I intend to write more, and I'm going to get paid for the next one. And I'm so happy for in time I may be able to support myself and the girls.
Joe and I are going to make fortunes for you all! Let's go!
Oh, Laurie!
I'm sorry.
Ow!
celebratory drive.
Oh, we made up to
Marmy.
Sorry.
I know, I shouldn't have. Can I get anything for you, Madam Mother?
No, thank you, dear. Oh, except call at the office if you'd be so kind. It's our day for a letter, and the postman hasn't been. Father's usually as regular as the son. There's some delay on the way, perhaps.
Oh, here. It's one of them hurried telegraph things, Mom.
Marty, what is it?
Say, Joe,
Mrs. March, come quick. Your husband is very ill. S. Hale Blank Hospital, Washington.
Army, I shall go at once, but it may be too late. My children help me to bear it.
Oh, the Lord keep the dear man. Well, I won't waste no time crying, but get your things right away, Mom, right away.
Army, she's right. There's no time for tears now. Where's Laurie?
I'm here, Madam. Let me do something.
Laurie, run. Send a telegram saying I will come at once. The next train goes early in the morning. I'll take that.
What else? The horses are ready. I can go anywhere, do anything.
Well, all right. Take this note to Aunt March, but don't kill yourself driving at a desperate pace, dear. There's no need of that. Joe, run to the rooms and tell Mrs. King I can't come. On your way, get these things. I'll write them down for you. Hospital stores aren't always good. Amy, tell Hannah to get the black trunk down from the attic. Beth and Meg will help me find my things before I'm happy Wilburs.
I'm very sorry to hear this, Miss March. I've come to offer myself as an escort to your mother. Mr. Lawrence has commissions for me in Washington, and it would give me real satisfaction to be of service to her there.
How kind you all are. Mommy will accept, I'm sure, and I can't begin to tell you what a relief it will be to have someone there to look after her. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Brooke. Marmy, Mr. Brooke has offered to escort you to Washington as he has commissions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brooke.
Come tomorrow morning, Mrs. March.
Aunt March said what you asked for. Is there anything else I can do?
Thank you. I wonder what's keeping Joe. You'll find for me, won't you, Laurie?
Yes.
That's my contribution towards bringing Father home and making him comfortable.
Where did you get it? $25, Joe. I hope you haven't done anything rash.
No, it's mine, honestly. I didn't beg, borrow, or steal. I don't think you'll blame me, for I only sold what was my own.
Joe! Your hair! Oh, your beautiful hair! Oh, Joe, how could you? You're one beauty! There was no need of this, my dear girl.
She doesn't look like my Joe anymore. No, but I love her for it. It'll do my vanity good. I was getting too proud of my wig. Yes, my head feels deliciously light and cool. So please take the money and let's have tea.
What made you do it?
Well, I was wild to do something for Father, and I hate to beg as much as Marmy does, and I knew Aunt March would croak as soon as I asked her for a 9-pence. I saw in a barber's window a tail of hair not as thick as mine was $40. Yes, so without stopping to think, I rushed in and asked the man how much he would give me for mine. He said it wasn't the fashionable color, but I begged him to take it.
Didn't you feel just dreadful when the first cut came?
I must admit I did feel a little odd when I saw the dear old hair laid out on the table, almost like I cut off an arm or a leg. They gave me a long lock to keep, Marmy, and I'll give it to you to remember glory past.
Thank you, dear. Now go to bed, for we must be up early and shall need all the sleep we can get. Good night, my darlings.
Good night, Mommy.
How
hard as this, I don't see how we're ever going to get through it. Where could Marmy be? What if there was an accident? Perhaps they're being delayed by the storm? Or perhaps Father... Joe? Beth. Oh. Goodbye, Beth.
Oh, don't cry, child. Look, the fever's turned. Oh, she's sleeping natural. Her skin is damp, and she's breathing easy. Oh, praise be given. Oh, my goodness me.
Yes, look, she isn't pale anymore. She's just breathing quietly. She's just asleep.
If only Marmy would come now.
I thought this would hardly be ready to lay in Beth's hands tomorrow. If she went away from us, but it's blossomed in the night, and I mean to lie it right here. So the darling wakes, the first thing she sees will be this little flower in Mother's face.
Look at the sunrise.
It looks like a fairy world. Hark!
Girls, she's come! She's come!
I don't know the words to describe the meeting of mother and daughter. Such hours are beautiful to live, but very hard to describe. So I will leave it to your imagination. But as Meg hoped, the first things that Beth's eyes fell upon were that little flower and her mother's face. Now, Meg never alluded to a certain person.
She thought about him a good deal. Dreamed dreams more than ever.
While Joe, rummaging through Meg's desk for stamps, came across a letter with the words marked, Mrs. John Brooke. Joe had a sudden fit of surprise.
And was seen to shake her fist violently at Mr. Brooks' umbrella, which had been left in the hall.
Meg was absent-minded.
Shy and silent.
Startled when the bell rang, and colored when John's name was mentioned.
John!
Look at Laurie out there on the lawn, tearing his hair and wringing imaginary tears out of a handkerchief. What does the goose mean?
He's showing you how your John will go on by and by. Touching, isn't it?
Don't say my John, Joe. It isn't proper.
Excuse me.
Or true. Of course not. Don't plague me, Joe. I told you I don't care much about him, and we are all to be friendly and go on as before.
If he did speak, you wouldn't know what to say, but would cry and blush and let him have his way, instead of giving him a good decided no.
I'm not so silly or weak as you seem to think. I know just what I would say for. Well, I planned it all out.
Oh, have you?
There's no knowing what might happen, and I wish to be prepared.
Hello?
Mr. John Brooke! What a delight.
Good afternoon. I've come to get my umbrella. That is to see how your sister finds herself today.
She's very well, thank you. I'll go and get her. Excuse me.
Marmy would like to see you. Pray sit down. I'll go get her.
Don't go. Are you afraid of me, Margaret?
Afraid? How can I be afraid of you when you've been nothing but kind to us? I only wish I could thank you for it.
Shall I tell you how?
Oh, no, please don't. I'd rather
I won't
not.
trouble you. I only want to know if you care for me a little. Meg, I love you so much, dear.
I don't know.
Will you try and find out? I want to know so much, or I can't go to work with a heart until I know whether I'm going to have a reward in the end or not.
I'm too young.
I'll wait, and in the meantime, you can be learning to like me. Would it be a hard lesson, dear?
Not if I choose to learn it.
Please choose to learn. I love to teach. Adding this is easier than German.
Well, I don't.
Do you really mean that? I mean, maybe you'll change your mind by and by. I'll wait and say nothing till you've had more time. Don't play with me, May. I don't think that of you.
I would rather you not think of me at all.
Bless me! What is all this?
I'm so surprised to see you. It's Father's friend.
Well, that is evident. But what is Father's friend saying to make you look like a peony?
We were merely talking. Mr. Brooke forgot his umbrella.
Brooke! That boy's tutor? I understand now. Joe blundered into a wrong message in one of her father's letters, and I made her tell me. You haven't gone and accepted him.
Hush! He'll hear. Don't tell Mother.
Not yet. I've something to say to you. Tell me, do you intend to marry this Brooke? If you do, not one penny of my money goes to you. Remember that and be a sensible girl.
I shall marry whom I please, Aunt Marcia, and you can leave your money to anyone you like.
Tighty, is that the way you take my advice, miss? You'll be sorry for it by and by when you've tried love in a cottage and found it a failure.
Well, it can't be worse than some people find in large houses.
Meg, my dear, be reasonable. Take my advice. I mean it kindly. I don't want to see you spoil your whole life by making a mistake at the very beginning. You ought to marry well and help your family.
But Father and Mother don't think so. They like John, though he's poor.
Your parents have no more worldly wisdom than babies.
Well, I'm glad of it.
And this Mr. Brooke, he hasn't any rich relations, has he?
No, but he has many warm friends.
You can't live on friends. And he hasn't any business, has he?
Not yet. Mr. Lawrence is helping him, though.
Lawrence? That won't last long. So you intend to marry a man without money, position, or business when you might be perfectly comfortable by minding me. I thought you had more sense, Meg. He knows you have rich relations, child. The secret of his liking, I suspect.
Aunt March! How dare you say such a thing? John is above such meanness, and I won't listen to a minute more if you talk so. My John wouldn't marry for money any more than I would. We are willing to work, and we mean to wait. I'm not afraid of being poor, for I've been happy so far. I know I shall be with him because he loves me, and I love him.
Love! Well, I wash my hands of the whole affair. You are a willful child, and you've lost more than you know by this piece of folly. Don't expect anything from me when you're married. Your Mr. Brooks' friends must take care of you then. I'm done with you. Forever.
I couldn't help but overhearing. Thank you for defending me, Meg, and Aunt March for providing that you do care for me a little.
I didn't know how much till she abused you.
Well, I needn't go, but may stay and be happy. May I, dear?
Yes, John.
Sister Joe, congratulate us.
Do someone come quick. John Brooke is acting terribly. Meg likes it.
Like sunshine after a storm, were the peaceful weeks that followed and ushered in a splendid Christmas day.
been such a one, but it ends well after all.
Hope next year will end better.
I hope the third year will end better. I mean, it will if I live to work out my plans.
Don't 3 years seem very long to wait?
Well, I have so much to learn before I shall be ready that it seems a short time to me.
Where is everyone?
Quick, Beth!
What are you all up to?
Merry Christmas!
For me?
Yes, all for you, my precious. Isn't it splendid? Don't you think he's the dearest old man in all the world? Come, look. Oh. To Miss Elizabeth March, Merry Christmas. Your humble servant, Mr. James Lawrence.
Oh, I feel so queer. Oh, it is too lovely.
Betty, look at the cunning brackets to hold candles, and the nice silk, all covered up with the gold rose in the middle, and the wrapping stool, it's all complete.
Your humble servant, James Lawrence. Only think of his writing to you. I'll tell the girls. They'll think it's splendid.
Well, go on and try it, honey. Let's hear the sound of the baby piano.
What should I play?
A Christmas carol.
Father's favorite. God rest ye.
Joe, will you begin?
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember
take hands and dance around the new-made husband and wife, as the Germans do, while we bachelors and spinsters prance and couples outside.
Rather than in the actions of the character, and it will all be well if you don't explain properly as you go on.
That's just it, Mr. Allen says. Leave out the details, make it brief and dramatic. Let the characters tell the story.
Do as he tells you. He knows what will sell and we don't. Make a good popular book and get as much money as you can for it.
Now, Beth, what do you think?
In the hope of pleasing everyone, she took everyone's advice, but in the end, suited no one. But the book was printed, and she got $300 for it, and likewise plenty of praise and blame, both so much greater than she expected that she was thrown into a state of bewilderment from which it took her some time to recover.
You said, Marmy, that criticism would help me, but how can it when it's all so contradictory? Some make fun of it, but some overpraise it. And nearly all said I had some great theory to expound on. When really, I only did it for the pleasure. And the money. But not being a genius like Keats, it won't kill me. So when I'm ready, I'll up again and take another.
But just as fortune can sometimes smile upon one, it can, as Joe was soon to find out, frown as well.
Marmy, what's in that letter that's making you so happy?
Yes, Marmy, you've been lit up like a street lamp ever since you opened it. Fess up. What are the glad tidings?
Aunt March is going abroad next month and wants
Me to go with her.
Joe!
Yes.
It's not you. It's Amy.
No, Marmy. She's too young. It's my turn first. Oh no, I've wanted it for so long. It would do me so much good and be altogether splendid. I must go.
I am afraid, it's impossible, dear. Aunt says it's Amy decidedly, and it is not for us to dictate when she offers such a favor.
Oh, it's Amy. Amy has all the fun and I have all the work. It isn't fair. It isn't fair!
I'm afraid it is partly your own fault, dear. When I spoke to Aunt the other day, she regretted your blunt manners and too independent spirit. And here she writes, as if quoting something you had said. I had planned to ask Joe, but since she hates French and favors burden her, I won't venture to invite her. Amy is more docile and will receive gratefully any help the trip may give her.
My tongue! My abominable tongue! When will I ever learn to control it?
I do wish you could have gone, Joe, but it is impossible now. So try to bear it cheerfully, and don't sadden Amy's pleasures by reproaches or regrets.
Try. It won't be easy. It's a dreadful disappointment.
Joe, I'm very selfish, but I couldn't spare you, and I'm glad you're not going quite yet.
Eventually, Joe was able to take her part in the family jubilation, though not as heartily as usual.
Amy received the news as tidings of great joy.
And began to sort her colors and pack her pencils,
Leaving such trifles as clothing and patent passport, those less absorbed in visions of art than herself.
This trip will decide my career, for if I have any genius at all, I shall find it out in Rome and do something to prove it.
And if she hasn't, she will marry some rich man and live in the lap of luxury for the rest of her days.
The house was in ferment till Amy was off.
Amy, we ought to leave now.
Joe, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
I'll miss you, Amy.
I'll miss you too, Meg. Write to me all the time.
Oh, goodbye.
Bethany, take care of Marmy for me.
Of course I will.
Marmy.
I love you, Barbie.
Love you too, dear.
Well,
belief came over her that the whole ocean was soon to roll between her and those who loved her best.
Oh, take care of them for me. And if anything should happen.
I will, dear. And if anything happens, I will come and comfort you.
Better.
Good God.
Amy's letters filled her at-home family with delight most times. But as the days turned into weeks, Joe began to feel anxious about Beth.
How strong and well and happy that dear boy looks. I should go and give the kitten some milk. Mercy on me. Beth loves Laurie. But he shouldn't love her back. No, he must. I'll make him.
Well, this is filling into the price.
No slang.
Come, Joe. Don't be thorny. After studying himself into a skeleton all week, fellow deserves a little petting and ought to get it.
Beth will pet you. I'm busy.
Beth is not to be bothered with me. But you like this sort of thing. Unless you've lost your taste for it. Have you? Do you hate your boy and want to fire pillows at him?
How many bouquets have you sent Miss Randall this week?
Not one, upon my word. She's engaged. Now.
Well, I'm glad of it. That's one of your foolish extravagances, yes. Sending flowers and things to girls for whom you don't care two pins.
Well, sensible girls for whom I care whole papers of pins won't let me send them flowers and things. So what am I to do? My feelings must have a vent.
Then devote yourself to one of the pretty, modest girls you do respect, and not waste your time on the silly ones.
You really advise it?
Yes, I do. But you better wait till you're through with school and be fitting yourself in the meantime. You're not nearly half good enough for me. Whoever the modest girl may be.
No. No, that I'm not.
Go and sing to me. I'm dying for some music, and yours always makes me feel nice.
I'd rather stay here, thank you.
Well, you can't learn anything and grow. Go and make yourself useful. You're too big to be ornamental. I thought you hated to be tied to a woman's apron string.
That depends on who wears the apron. Joe.
Are you going? I want to get away.
Away?
Yes, to New York. Your friend, Mrs. Kirk, remember the one who runs the boarding home? She wanted someone to look after her little girls.
What is it, Joe?
Laurie.
He loves you. And you don't love him.
Not that way.
I must say I am quite glad of that, Fury. You're both so headstrong. I don't think you're quite suited for one another.
You'll write to New York soon.
Mrs. Kirk gladly accepted Joe and promised to make a pleasant home for her. Laurie took the news of her plans quietly, having been graver than usual of late, yet still very pleasant. And Joe, much relieved that one of his virtuous fits should come on just then, and happy that Beth seemed more cheerful, made her preparations with a lightened heart.
Now, Beth, one thing I leave to your special care.
You mean your papers?
No, my boy. Be very good to him, won't you?
Of course I will. But I can't fill your place. He'll miss you sadly.
It won't hurt him. So remember, I leave him in your care to play, pet, and look after.
I'll do my best. For your sake.
Good. Oh, goodbye, Beth. The next story I sell is sending you and Marmee to the seashore to bring those roses back to your cheeks.
Joe.
Goodbye, Marmee.
Goodbye, Joe.
Be careful.
Bye.
telling the 7 bad pigs. Today I saw something I liked. A little servant girl was lumbering up the stairs when a gentleman came along beside her, took the heavy hod of coal out of her hands, carried it all the way up, then turned and said to me,
"It goes better so. It's a little back. It's too young to have such heaviness."
Mrs. K said it was Professor Bear, who was from Berlin and very good and learned, but poor as a church mouse. We were introduced last evening when little Minnie said to me,
"This is Mama's friend, Miss March."
very prettily, and little Kitty added,
"Yes, and she's jolly, and we like her lots."
I've begun taking lessons.
Eins,
1,
zwei,
5,
3,
3,
4.
4. Professor Bear offered them when he found out that Mrs. Kirk and I had been tidying up his rooms on the sly.
5.
Excuse me. 5. I am very stupid at them. He is very patient with me. Although it's hard not to laugh at the earnest way he tries to read the Konstantin soldier in German.
Einmal. Huh? Waren Sie Zinnsoldat?
I hope both of you shall get to know him someday. Father would admire his wise head and Marmee his warm heart. I admire both and feel very rich in my new friend.
Though very happy in the social atmosphere about her, Jo still found time for her literary labors. The novel fiasco had quenched her courage for a time, but the up again and take another spirit were strong within her. So she fired up again and took to writing sensational stories, or even All Perfect America read rubbish. She told no one, but concocted a thrilling tale and boldly carried it herself to the editor of the weekly Volcano.
Excuse me.
What?
I'm looking for Mr. Dashwood of the weekly Volcano.
He's in there.
You can't.
Eddie?
Whoa! What?
Well, we need Johnson. It's got to go out.
I
By
can't
five.
find him.
Excuse me.
What do you want?
Mr. Dashwood? A friend of mine would like to offer, just as an experiment, would be willing to try more if this suits.
Not a first attempt, I take it.
Oh, no, sir. She has had some experience and even won a prize for her tale. She entered in the Blarney Stone Banner.
Oh, did she? Oh, that's very good. Oh, well, we'll take this if you don't object to a few alterations. It's too long, but omitting the passages that I've marked will make it just right.
Oh, well, I thought every story should have some sort of a moral, so I took care to make sure some of my sinners repent.
Tell your friend that people want to be amused, not preached at, you know? Morals don't sell nowadays. Tell they ever did.
Oh, you think it would do with these alterations, then?
Yes, it's a new plot and pretty well worked up. Language good and so.
What kind of, that is, what compensation do you offer?
Oh, yes. Well, we offer 25 to 30 for things of this sort.
Very well, you may have it. Shall I tell my friend to drop off more if she has some better than this?
Well, we'll look at it. Can't promise to take it. Tell her to make it short, spicy, and never mind the moral. What name would your friend like to put to this?
Oh, none at all, thank you. She doesn't wish for her name to appear and has no nom de plume.
Just as she likes, of course. This will be out next week. We call for the money, or should I send it?
I'll call. Yeah, I'll send. Thank you.
I wish these papers did not come into the house. It's not for children to see, nor young people to read. It's not well. I have no patience with those who make this harm. I would more rather give my boys gunpowder to playlists than this bad trash.
Frederick, all may not be bad, only silly, you know? And if there's a demand for it, I see no harm in supplying it. Very many respectable people make an honest living out of what are called sensational stories.
There's a demand for whiskey. I think you and I do not care to sell it. Respectable people should think a little. Sweet mugs of street also exist. Like much to send all the rest after him. Now, I tried for you this book of Schiller. We wanted to translate.
He's right. They are trash. This will be worse than that if I continue, for each is more sensational than the last. What should I do if these were ever found at home? Professor Bear ever came across this? There. That's the only place for such inflammable nonsense. Shall we go on? I'll be very good and proper now.
Professor helped Jo in many ways, proving himself a true friend. Jo was happy. She was
Shall I come?
Yes? Yes. Come next month. Laurie graduates and you'd enjoy commencement as something new.
This is your best friend of whom you speak.
Oh, yes. My boy, Laurie. I'm very proud of him. I should like you to see him.
I fear I shall not make the time for that. But I wish the friend much success and you all happiness. Joe, God bless you.
Thank you, Professor.
All aboard!
So sorry you can't come. That's my train. Goodbye, Professor.
It is not for me. I must not hope it now.
Whatever his motive, Laurie studied hard that year and graduated with honors.
Laurie!
Congratulations! Thank you!
That Latin oration was marvelous.
I thought so.
Well, now you have a good long holiday.
I intend to. No, I will! And you must hear me. It's no use. Joe, we have to have it out, and the sooner the better for both of us.
Very well. Say what you like. I'll listen.
I have loved you ever since I've known you. And I've tried hard to show it, but you wouldn't let me. And now I'm going to make you hear it. Give me an answer, for I can't go on so any longer.
I wanted to save you from this. I thought you would understand.
I know you did, but girls are so queer, you never know what they mean.
I don't. I never wanted to make you care for me so. And I went away to keep it from you, if I could.
I thought so. But it was no use. It only made me love you all the more. And I tried hard to please you, and I hoped you'd love me, even though I'm not half good enough.
Yes, you are. No, Laura, you're a great deal too good for me. I'm so fond of you. I'm so proud. I don't know why I can't love you the way you want me to. I've tried. But I can't change the feeling, Teddy. It would be a lie to say I do when I don't.
Really, truly, Joe.
Really, truly, dear. No, I'm so desperately sorry. I could kill myself if it would do any good. You know it's impossible for people to make them love one another when they don't.
They do sometimes.
Oh, but I don't think it's the right sort of love. And I'd rather not try it. Laurie, I want to tell you something.
No, don't tell me that, Joe. I can't bear it now.
What?
That you love that old man.
What?
That devilish old professor you're always ranting about. I swear, if you say you love him, I know I will do something different!
He's only good and kind and the best friend I've got next to you. I want to be kind, but I know I shall grow angry if you abuse my professor. I I do not intend on loving him or anybody else.
You will someday. Yes. And then what will become of me?
You love somebody else too, like a sensible...
No, I can't love anybody else. I'll never forget you, Joe, never. Don't disappoint us, dear. Everybody expects it. Grandpa has his heart set upon it. Your people like it. I can't get on without you, dear. Please. Just say you will, and let's be happy. Do.
I cannot say yes truly. So I won't say it all. See that I'm right by and thank me for
I'll
it.
be hanged if I do.
Where are you going?
To the devil.
Laurie didn't go to the devil, but to his grandpa, who proposed they go abroad. And Joe made good of her promise of a trip to the seashore for Beth, who had changed since Joe last saw her. The face was no paler than in the autumn, yet there was a strange, transparent look about it, as if the mortal was being slowly refined away, and the immortal shining through that gentle soul with an indescribably pathetic beauty.
I've known it for a great while, dear. And now I'm used to it. It isn't hard to think of, or to bear. Try to see it so. And don't be troubled about me, because it's best. It really is.
Is this what made you so unhappy in the autumn, Beth? You didn't feel it then and keep it all to yourself for so long, did you?
Yes.
Oh,
I gave up hoping then, but I didn't like to own it. I saw you all, so well and strong, full of happy plans. And it was hard to feel that I could never be like you. And then I was miserable, Joe.
why didn't you let me help you? You didn't let me comfort you. How could you bear this up all alone?
I hoped I was mistaken. It would have been selfish of me to frighten you all. With Marmee so anxious about Meg, and Amy away, and you so happy with Laurie. Well, at least I thought so then.
And I thought you loved Laurie. You went away because I couldn't. Well, Amy is left for him now, and they would suit each other perfectly. I don't have the heart to talk of such things now, Beth. I don't care what happens to anybody but you. You must get well, Beth.
I want to! Oh, so much! But every day I lose a little. It's like the tide, Joe. When it turns, it goes slowly, but it can't be stopped.
Your tide will not turn so soon. 19 is too young. God could not be so cruel as to take you from me now.
Joe, I try to be willing. I have a feeling that it never was intended I should live long. I'm not like the rest of you. I never made any plans about what I'd do when I grew up. Or thought of being married as you all did. I couldn't seem to imagine myself as anything but stupid little Beth, trotting without a home, of no use anywhere but there. I never wanted to go away.
And the hard part now is leaving you all. I'm not afraid, Joe. It seems as if I should be homesick for you, even in heaven. Look at the dear little sandbird, Joe. See how tame he is? Look. Mother always said they reminded her of me. Always near the shore. Always chirping that contented little song of theirs. Oh, you are the gull, Joe. Strong and wild. Fond of the storm and the wind. Flying far off to sea. Happy. All alone. Meg is like the turtle dove, and Amy is like the lark she writes about, trying to get up into the clouds. I hope I shall see her again, but she seems so far away.
She is coming in the spring. And I mean that you shall be well and rosy by that time, Beth.
Don't hope anymore.
We'll have happy times.
I don't suffer much. I think the tide will go out easily if you'd help me. Love is the only thing we carry with us when we go. It makes the end so easy.
Seldom do the dying utter memorable words, see visions, or depart with beautified countenances. And those who have sped many a parting soul know that to most, the end comes as naturally and simply as sleep. As Beth had hoped, the tide went out easily, and on the bosom where she had drawn her first breath, she quietly drew her last. No farewell, but one loving look, and one little sigh. And when the morning sunshine streamed in like a benediction over the placid face upon that pillow, a face so full of painless peace, those who loved it best smiled through their tears and thanked God that Beth was well at last. And sadly, Laurie kept the promise he had made those many months before.
Something I could say for the loss of dear little Beth, but I can only...
You needn't say anything. This comforts me. Beth is at last well and happy. And I shouldn't want her back. We won't talk about it now, for it makes me cry. And I want to enjoy you while you stay. You needn't go right back, need you?
No, dear, not if you want me.
I do so much. Aunt March has been kind, but you seem like one of the family, and it would be so comfortable to have you for a while.
Poor little soul. You look like you've grieved yourself half sick. I'm going to take care of you now, so don't cry anymore.
Despite the new sorrows, it was a very happy time. It took Laurie a little while to recover from his surprise at the rapid cure of his first, and as he believed, his last and only love.
In the eyes of vital heart, every pure and tender feeling, all emotions worth revealing through the eyes that charming apart. Words are all golden guile through the lips which fear may falter, and confiding smiles may alter. Oh, believe not in a smile. It is the eyes unveils the heart.
A little difficult for you. Well, you must be getting tired.
No.
Why don't you rest a little and let me row? It'll do me good, as I have been altogether lazy and luxurious since you arrived.
Well, I'm not tired, but you may take an oar if you like. There's room enough, though I need to sit nearly in the middle or the boat won't trim.
Oh, do you?
Oh!
It's a little heavier than I expected.
You're holding it wrong, for starters. There you are.
It's much better. How well we pull together, don't we?
So well. I wish we might always pull in the same boat. Will you, Amy?
Yes, Laurie?
Up in the attic stoop, 4 chests in a row, each marked with its owner's name and filled with relics of girlhood and childhood, ended now and for all. Jo was looking through them when she came unto her own.
Wait for me, my friend. I may be a little late, but I shall surely come. Frederick. Only he would come. So good, so kind, so patient with me always. I love to see him, for I'm all alone. A literary spinster, that's what I'm going to be.
With a pen for a spouse, and a family of stories for children, and 20 years hence a morsel of fame, perhaps, when I'm old, can't enjoy it, solitary and can't share it, and independent and don't need it.
Well, I dare say old maids are very comfortable
When they get used to it.
Where's the right attic?
Oh,
Oh, well, are you happy to see me then?
happy! Oh, words cannot express my happiness.
Let me look at you.
Look at you. What is Amy?
Your mother has her down as Meg's. We stopped there on the way, and there was no getting my wife out of their clutches.
What?
The Dickens, now I've done it.
You've gone and got married?
Yes, but please, I never will again.
Oh, what dreadful thing will you do next? Stand up and tell me all about it.
Nope, not a word. Unless you promise to let me come in my old place and not to barricade.
The pillows are put away now, and we don't need them. So fess up, Teddy.
How good it sounds to hear you call me Teddy.
Oh, what does Amy call you?
My lord.
Well, that's like her.
Joe, I do want to say one thing, and then then we can put it by forever.
No, Teddy.
Joe, please.
Teddy,
Please.
don't.
Joe, I will never stop loving you.
Laurie,
Joe,
don't!
Please. I will never stop loving you. But the love is altered. Amy and you have changed places in my heart, and I see that it's better. I feel I can share my heart between Sister Joe and wife Amy and love them both very, very dearly. Will you believe it? And go back to the old times when we first knew one another?
I'll believe it. But Laurie, we can never be boy and girl again. We are man and woman now. Playtime is over. But we will be brother and sister to each other, won't we? Love and care for one another for the rest of our days. Oh.
Where is she? Where's my dear old Joe? There she is!
Look at it! Beautiful, Joe! Oh, Mrs. Laurie.
You told her?
Well, you know me. Harvey! Oh. And Meg, you look lovely. And you, Frisco!
Sir Bear! Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
And I to see Miss Marsh. You have been ill, my friend?
No, not ill. Just tired and sorrowful. We have had some sad news since I saw you last.
Yes, I know. But my heart was sore for you. I heard that.
Thank you. Everyone, this is my friend, Professor Bear.
Professor, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
My sister, thank you.
Mrs. Lawrence.
My lord.
That man intends to marry our Joe.
Oh, I hope so. Don't you, dear?
Well, my love, I do consider him a trump in the fullest sense of that expressive word, but I do wish he was a little younger and a good deal richer.
May I ask you a question, dear?
Of course.
Should you care if Joe does marry Mr. Bear?
Oh. That's trouble. I can dance at Joe's wedding with a heart as light as my heels. Will you believe it?
While Laurie and Amy took conjugal strolls over velvet carpets, set their house in order and planned their blissful future together, Professor and Joe were enjoying promenades of a different sort. Through muddy roads and sodden fields. By the second week of his regular visits, everyone knew perfectly well what was going on, yet all tried to act as if stone blind to the changes in Joe's face. Joe herself couldn't lose her heart in a decorous manner, and certainly tried to quench her feelings, but failing to do so, led a rather agitated life, being mortally afraid of being laughed at after her many, many vehement declarations of independence. For a fortnight, the professor came and went with lover-like regularity. But then he stayed away for 3 whole days.
Disgusted, I dare say. Gone away just as soon as he came. It's nothing to me, of course. Could have at least said goodbye like a proper gentleman. Do you need anything in town? Got to go out and get some paper.
Oh, yes. Could you get me some twisted silesia, a paper of number 9 needles, and 2 yards of narrow lavender ribbon?
How many yards?
2 yards. And have you got your thick boots on and something warm under your cloak?
I believe so.
And if you see Mr. Bear, do bring him home to tea. I'm longing to see the dear man.
We thought you had gone.
You believe that I would go with no farewell, as those who have been
No.
heavenly kind to me.
No, I didn't. I knew you had your own affairs to take care of, but we rather missed you.
Thank you. And I'll come one more time before I go.
Oh, you are going then.
Friends find for me a place in the college where I teaches at home and I earn enough to make the way smooth for friends and a meal.
How wonderful for you to be able to do what you want and be able to see you often. And the boys.
We shall not meet often, I fear. This place is in the west.
Oh, no, it's so far away.
Dearest, why do you cry?
Because we're going away.
Oh, my God. That is so good.
What?
Joe, I have nothing but much love to give you. I came to see if you could care for it. I waited to be sure I was something more than a friend. Am I? Can you give a little place in your heart, old Fritz?
Frederick, what took you so long?
I could not find so hard to take you from that happy home until I have a prospect of one to give you. After much time, perhaps, and hard work. But, Joe, I have nothing to give you. I have nothing but a full heart and these empty hands.
They're not empty now.
For a year,
Joe
And her professor.
worked and waited.
hoped and loved.
The second year began rather soberly.
For Aunt March died suddenly,
And they loved the dear old lady, despite her sharp tongue.
And they found she had left her huge estate, Plumfield,
To Joe.
Now, instead of selling the old farm,
Joe resolved to open a little school for boys, with her to take care of them.
And Fritz to teach them.
and almost before she knew where she was,
Joe was married and settled at Plumfield.
Where a flock of 6 or 7 boys arrived.
Flourish, surprisingly.
Alongside her own dear little son.
There were a great many holidays at Plumfield, and the most delightful of all was the yearly apple picking for the Marches,
Lawrence's,
Brooks,
And bears.
and all their friends.
turned out full force and made a day. Everybody was there. Everyone
write a good book yet, but I can wait. And I'm sure it will be worth it for such illustrations and experiences